Everyone, and welcome to Fandomology, where fandoms collide. I am, of course, Master Paul, and good Lord, has it been a long time since we have done this. And right off the bat, someone I've been looking I knew he'd show up the moment I live, saying, "What is this? Who is this? Why is this?" All right. So first and foremost, I'm sorry for the mess in the background. I'm still a little bit in the process of moving stuff from this room to the other bedroom over there, but I want to just talk to you guys and catch up for a little bit and kind of go a little bit more in depth as to what's been going on, why I've been so absent, and just hopefully reconnect with you guys. So, and yes, by the way, I'm aware my internet's not doing the best right now. This is kind of a trial for that too. Like, I know for a fact I'm not going to be able to do any gaming stream for a while, but yeah. Is that a prison bunk? It is not a prison bunk. It is a normal that I had been sleeping on pretty much from the point that I moved in here to when I got married. So let's talk about that. So first off, yes, different background, different house. I no longer live with my grandmother because I decided to get out and be my own person finally. And so I moved in with my, at the time, fiance, Virginia. And since then, it has been honestly really fun living here. And of course, married. And yeah, everything has just been really good as far as that goes. We enjoy each other's company really well. And yeah, I wouldn't have changed a thing about that. Phil, that is Virginia from Virginia. So we got married December 7th of this year. So we've not been married long at all. And the ceremony was really good. It was a very small ceremony. We did it at at Phil's cat is that red. There's actually two, but this is Smokey. She is my cat. She's 9 months old. Smokey, you want to say hello to the internet? So yeah, this is Smokey, everyone. She is a wild child, and you can't really see her. I'll lift my camera up here for a second, but back there is Virginia's cat, Annie. So yeah, I got a little bit of a live audience today. They don't get along the best, but that's another thing. So anyways, the ceremony was really nice. We got married, like I said, December 7th at our church. And it was a really small private ceremony. We only had, I want to say, about 13 people in attendance. And it was people that we were, of course, very close to. And that's pretty much exactly how we wanted it. We didn't want it to be some big, we didn't want it to be some big, to do. We didn't want it to be this big stressor. So we kept it very simple, very short. In fact, to be honest, we really didn't even have a wedding party. It was just the two of us and the pastor up there on the stage, and it worked out really, really well. Hopefully, will cooperate with me, and I'll try and show y'all some pictures. So while those are getting loaded up, that's one of the that Bill says, was Cash Money the best man? He was not, unfortunately. Cash wasn't there. Is things start to go? It is getting a little. But anyways, so first off, this is from. So we're gonna show some pictures here. So I don't have many to show you, but here's a couple that I thought would be cool for you guys to see. So first off, it was a complete surprise to me. Virginia, I didn't know she was planning on doing this until she showed me after the fact, and I absolutely love it. But she took one of my newer electric guitars. This was a birthday present from Ian, and decided to into our yard in the field and take a picture with it. And she looks absolutely beautiful with it. And of course, the guitar looks amazing on her. So, whoops, hold up. That's not what I want. Crap. All right. Bear with me here. We're going to bring this back. Virginia, if you watch this later, I'm sorry for showing your Facebook. I didn't mean to do that. All right. So, yep, I know. Don't climb on the desk. So here's the next. Okay. Options, close all chats. Yes, get out of the way. Okay, that's Virginia with her bouquet that my sister Morgan put together for her. Morgan did a lot for this ceremony. She took all the pictures and edited them and did an amazing job, I might add. She provided Virginia's bouquet and my boutonniere, and she also provided the cake for us. So we, of course, told her this multiple times. But once again, Morgan, if you're watching, thank you for all the help that you did. And also, fun fact, Virginia thought that this dress might be a little bit too much for the setting we were in, because we had initially planned a different wedding, but a whole bunch of stuff we don't need to get into with that. We changed our plans. We'll change the outlook, yeah. And so me and just about everyone there pretty much told her that the dress is fine, you know, and she looked amazing in it. And so the next picture, that was the big kiss. That was us finally kissing for the first time as husband and wife. And like I said, my boutonniere there, Morgan provided. We also did the decorations behind us pretty much ourselves. That was a big 7-foot tall plastic hoop that I had bought off Amazon that we covered in some translucent curtains, put some fairy lights on it, and put some garland around the top rim. And then the trees, the church already had, so we just kind of brought those in close to the middle. And yeah, that was our, and we were incredibly, incredibly proud of that. So moving on, that's us walking back down the aisle after the kiss. And you can kind of see him. He got blurry, but there was the preacher back there in the background. And after this, we stayed a little bit and took some other pictures. So just some simple stuff like that. Not there it is. Okay. That's one of my favorite pictures that we took. Just the two of us looking at the camera, standing close, and at the bottom, her dress kind of swishing around a little bit. I thought that was really cool. This next one was kind of surprised that we weren't even planning on doing, but Virginia decided that she wanted to kiss me behind her bouquet, and Morgan took that and edited it. That's probably my favorite picture out of all of them, right there. And so after this, we went downstairs to the fellowship hall of the church for the reception, and it was just a simple potluck-style reception. We did do a couples dance, which was really fun, and we initially weren't going to do it. This was like a spur-of-the-moment thing. They were like, you know what? We want to have the full experience. Despite this being a small wedding, we're doing a couples dance. We don't have any pictures of that, unfortunately, but we did get a picture of the cake cutting. So in order to dance, Virginia swapped into a second dress that was kind of Middle-earth inspired. By this point, I've, of course, taken off my tie because I don't generally like ties. And that's the cake that we're cutting. It was only big enough, really, for the two of us, and we really only ended up eating half anyways. And so everyone else got cupcakes. And Morgan touched this one up, too. This is another one of those pictures that I think is probably up there with my favorites. And so, yeah, that was pretty much everything that had been going on as far as the wedding goes. Let's see. Another big thing that had happened recently. In fact, I am going to go ahead and bring up my own Facebook thing so I can show y'all. Is I went to Universal in Florida for the first time and had a lot of fun. So let me get to, where is it? There it is. Okay. So I had never been to Universal before, and Virginia had been, I want to say, at least twice. I don't remember off the top of my head, but she wanted to bring me along. And the way that she does it is she does it through this company called the Orlando Informer, where they do special meetups at various different times through the year, where you can go from like 5 p.m. all the way to 1 a.m. through the night. And it's a all-inclusive thing where once you're in the park after about 8 p.m., everything food and drink is free. And so that was really fun. Now, admittedly, we mostly stuck around the Harry Potter sections because that was really the only thing that either of us were interested in. But the park itself overall was really nice. I would definitely put it on the same level as Disney World. In fact, and I know a lot of people have said this before, but all of the Harry Potter stuff that was there, especially Diagon Alley, put Galaxy's Edge to shame, in my opinion. And if you had told me that when I started this channel that I would be praising a Harry Potter park more than even the Disney Star Wars park, I would have probably laughed at you. But here we are. So here's where we're going to bring in the picture. So, not, by the way, it kind of was, but also kind of wasn't our honeymoon because we had done it before the wedding. But we knew that we weren't going to really have time/money to do a honeymoon after the wedding. So we kind of treated this as our honeymoon before the wedding happened. Now, most of my pictures are only of the park. But here is us after entering the park. I want to picture us with the big Universal sign here by us. And then here is us in Diagon Alley. And yes, we both had Harry Potter robes, with her being a Ravenclaw, myself Slytherin. And she brought her Harry Potter robe with her because she had bought it previously. That one I had just bought. And yes, it was... Phil says, Paul, you became a hippie? Sometimes I do wear that band. I wouldn't necessarily call myself a hippie, but I can see where you'd get that. Dad once jokingly called me a 90s youth pastor or something with it. But yeah, this was us in both of our robes. You'll see a lot of pictures like that. The Crocs were a terrible idea, though, because I learned that basically Crocs are not meant for walking through a theme park. Your feet will hate you for that. But there's more. This was us with Hogwarts in the back. This was in the Hogsmeade section. So the way that it works is Universal in Florida has two parks into it that are kind of joined together by like a little shopping thing that's the equivalent to Disney Springs. And so usually each park is its own separate ticket. However, with the Orlando Informer meetup thing, you get access to both parks by paying one fee. And like I said, all food and drink was included. So we were able to go back and forth between Universal and Island of Adventure. I think that's what it was called. Yeah. We were able to go back and forth between Universal and Island of Adventure as pretty much as we wanted to. And real quick, here's a face I haven't seen in a while. Hello to Glenn Schroeder, who said, "Hail, gentlemen." Hail to you, man. It's been a while. So this was, like I said, in Hogsmeade, and inside there is actually a pretty fun ride. Now, we did not ride that many things, mostly because Virginia isn't usually big into amusement park rides. But I did ride a few things. Like I rode this roller coaster set in Gringotts where it's like a lot of stop and start, a lot of twists and turns. And it's like a VR sort of thing too. You see like the characters interacting with each other, interact with you during the ride. And the ride that was in here, the Harry Potter Forbidden Journey thing, was much like that too. And what's really cool is the queue for these rides are super duper themed and super duper detailed too. Like, just yeah, you could walk through and then the interior, the queue for this ride, just like the set of the movie, and it was really, really cool. They had these recordings of the paintings talking to each other and talking to you. They had recordings of the characters talking to you and giving you like ride instructions, things like that. It was amazing. So what else is there? This was us with the Hogwarts Express. The Hogwarts Express is how you got back and forth between two Harry Potter areas. And basically, it's two different shows within the train, going from one park to the other, depending which way we go. Now, the first time we rode from Diagon Alley to Hogsmeade, and I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, I was kind of disappointed. Not in the ride itself. The ride itself was cool, and you see out your window, which is just a big screen, different scenery from the Harry Potter scenes going on. You see in the background, like the Death Eaters flying in on their smoke, and things like that. But the characters talking about, unfortunately, people that we were reading the train with. Oh, crap. Yeah, Wi-Fi is not the best. We're going to try and get that fixed as soon as we can. Hello in the chat to Blazer Hawk, who says, "Howdy, stranger." Thank you. I have missed you guys. So, like I said, the people who were riding the train with just would not stop talking. I couldn't hear what was being said, and I wanted to hear it. But thankfully, on the next day, going the opposite direction, we had people riding with us that to be quiet, and we were able to hear what was being said then. So next up, this was us taking a picture with a Velociraptor animatronic in the Jurassic Park section of Island of Adventure. So this was us kind of making our way back from the Harry Potter stuff, slowly making our way back to the entrance because it was starting to wind down. And it's really cool. Like, I don't know what sort of technology they have in this thing, but you could swear that this thing looks exactly real. Like, you'd never know that this is a robot because the sounds are real, the movements are so fluid, and it jump scares you a few times. And by the way, Darren says, "Congratulations on your marriage. She looks like a keeper." Thank you, man. And she absolutely is. So yeah, this was a fun experience. Let's see, what's next? Okay, so that's pretty much it for the pictures. So yeah, that was another thing that happened. And we absolutely want to go back. We're already planning a bunch of different trips throughout the year. Well, okay, not a bunch of different trips throughout the year. We've got one big one that we're thinking about thinking very strongly about taking, in that we're planning on going to Scotland at some point in 2025, maybe around September, because that was another thing that Virginia had done before. She wants to show me. So another thing that had been happening is I've been bouncing around a bunch of different jobs. So I went from working at, I don't work there anymore, so I'm going to say their name. I went from working at Luray Caverns, where I had worked for about 5.5 years before I left, to trying my hand at being an insurance salesman for Aflac, and just completely not gelling with that at all for a lot of different reasons, to being unemployed for about 2 months, to working with my now in-laws on their turkey farm, to now getting picked up where I work now at an assisted living facility just across the mountain from me. And that's where I've been working since October, and I absolutely love it. that I think I truly have found my calling with that career path, being, as we call it, a DSP, or a direct support professional. Phil says, when turkeys attack. Let me tell you something about that, okay? So I worked with this turkey farm for about a month. And you would think it'd be a job that overall I would absolutely hate. But no, for the most part, I enjoyed it. The work, yes, was hard. And I was coming home absolutely exhausted and sore, which was a huge part of the reason back in those days that I wasn't streaming, because I was just simply too tired to. But on the whole, I enjoyed the work. But there were a few things that did annoy me, and one of them being that if for whatever reason you had to stop walking, stop whatever you're doing when you're in the turkey houses, you are immediately surrounded by turkeys, because they don't have, any notion of personal space, and they just start pecking at your ankles. And it doesn't hurt, but it's annoying. It's like if someone's like poking you really hard in the shoulder, but it's your ankles. It just got annoying after a while. And when you've got that many, especially because these turkeys get big, when you've got that many turkeys pressed up against your legs and you're wearing the rubber insulated boots that I will, it gets hot really quickly. If there was one thing that I would say about that job that I genuinely just did not like on any level, it was having to cull birds that were just not up to snuff, whether they were sick, whether they were injured, especially if they were babies. And we don't need further to that, but yeah, that's probably the one part of the job that I just didn't, was to kill the birds, any birds that needed it, of course. And then pretty much my last day there was a day that we had gotten shipped baby birds to start raising. By this point, I had had my interview with where I currently work, and we were just to leave, me, Virginia, and her brother Chance, to go to Tennessee for a vacation in Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg, and then go down to Nashville to ICC, which was really fun, by the way. And I got to see all of the usual people that was there, like Coach and Nick and things like that. In fact, I'm going to show you something real quick that I picked up there, because there's a new hobby I'm trying to get into. I picked myself up. Hold on a second. Yeah. Got to make sure I got everything. I decided that I wanted to pick myself up some D&D dice, because I've been wanting for the longest time to get into Dungeons and Dragons, but I never did for various reasons. And I wanted to get myself a pair of dice. And so I got these. They were about $25, and it was a random bag too. So you couldn't tell what was in the bag that you were buying. I'm pretty happy with what I got. So I'm not part of any Dungeons and Dragons games yet, but I'm trying to get into that as quick as possible. Darren says it's to do a turkey drop. Yeah, I don't know what a turkey drop is, but it does not sound pleasant. But yeah, ICC is really fun this year. Unfortunately, Virginia didn't go because she did make sure her was kept company, which I completely understand. But I am trying to get back to ICC this year, which is in May, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm going to make sure that if we're able to go at all, she's able to go into the convention with me. So that's a little bit more of what's been going on. And Darren says it's a WKRP in Cincinnati reference. Okay. I'm afraid I still don't know what that is, but I believe you. So that's a little bit of what's been going on. There's other things too that unfortunately I'm not at liberty to discuss right now, but just know that everything is fine. Everything has been fine. But ultimately, what's kept me for the longest time from streaming with you guys, and I know I've mentioned this before, but I've never dedicated to actually talking about what's going on. And again, I will not share all details because they're not, but just in general, what had been going on is for the majority of 2024, just having the lowest self-esteem that I'd had and like the worst mental health that I had ever had. And Virginia has truly been a guardian angel to me, in that she's been helping me, number one, learn more about mental health in general, because she's had more experience with that than I have, but also been there to encourage me and support me in getting help and getting counseling and things like that. Bill said Cash Money's fault, because it's Cash's fault. Let's be honest here. But anyways, yeah, pretty much that's the biggest reason that I kept from streaming, because I was unhappy with life in general. And so a lot of the things that I was enjoying, I really wasn't. And yet I was trying to force myself into enjoying them, which just led to me going through the motions. That's why pretty much my only streams became gaming streams, because they took no effort whatsoever. And don't get me wrong, I love doing gaming streams. I miss talking, of course, with TDK and all them, or Fallout 76, playing that with you, Phil. Why is my microphone down? Okay, y'all should be able to hear me better now. And I do intend to get back to that stuff as much as I can. It's just one of those things that, because I've been away from it for so long, it's one of those things that I feel like I've got to ease myself back into. Darren says, hey, life happens. Sometimes you can't control things. And yes, Phil, TDK Rodney is still part of TDK, at least that I know of. I'll be honest, I haven't talked to them that much. I need to fix that. But yeah, that pretty much is in a nutshell what's been going on, why I haven't been on here. But now that life is starting to stabilize itself out some, I am going to be making a more concerted effort to be on here with you guys, even if it's just a stream like this, or even if it's just a video of just talking. I'm going to do my absolute best to be back with you guys, especially now that I have days off that let me do that again. So I'm thinking next Thursday, at some point during the day, will be my next whatever that guy for your stream, a pre-recorded video, but we're going to be getting more intentional about putting things on here. Sometimes you'll see me here in this room. Sometimes you'll see me out in the living room. Sometimes you'll see me back in Annie's house using their internet, but which is still technically mine because I pay for it. But I'm going to be as intentional as I can about being more active, being more engaging with you guys, because I genuinely have missed you guys this whole time. And I'm sorry that I left you guys. And yeah, we're in a new chapter now. Phil says, or outside because Paul being punished. You never know. Might happen. So that's as far as I can talk about with real life stuff. As far as like pop culture stuff, unfortunately, because I have been taking such a long break as far as like YouTube's going, I have become completely, and I mean completely, out of the loop as far as anything pop culture goes. Like, I'll be honest with you, everyone was of course talking about The Acolytes. I skipped The Acolyte entirely because I could see that a mile away as the dumpster fire that it was going to be. I'm not currently watching Skeleton Crew. I have not watched any Bad Batch since season 1. I have not watched Rings of Power season 2. I really have not watched anything. My entertainment has solely been from just YouTube stuff. But there is something I have been... Yeah, Glenn says you missed nothing. I didn't think so. Which, from what little I have there are a lot more people like that. And so maybe in the future I'll give that one a shot, but I don't think so. I basically don't feel the need to really engage with anything Star Wars right now. My fandom is, 100% first and foremost Harry Potter now. And yet at the same time, there's really not anything to talk about Harry Potter wise because just about everything's been made short of this new show that's coming out. And I know everyone's been going crazy about the potential casting or woke casting of the characters and such, but until something's confirmed, let's keep our heads on. But there has been something else I have been getting into lately. I've been getting more into gaming and playing a lot of the games I grew up with, and one of those are Super Mario 64 ROM hacks. And so when I get back into game streaming, that's probably the direction I'm going to go in, is playing these different fan games of, say, Super Mario 64, or I happen to know there's a few Legend of Zelda ROM hacks that exist. So if y'all are interested in that, of course, I'll be sure to provide that with you, especially because I've been playing this really interesting Mario 64 ROM hack lately called B3313. And it is basically, the best way I can describe it is a Super Mario 64 horror game. And it is astounding. So as soon as I'm able to get back to streaming games, we will absolutely do that. Now, what's it going to take for me to get back to that? Unfortunately, it's going to take stronger Wi-Fi, and we don't have a timetable, me and Virginia, yet on what that's going to be. We're pretty much set on the fact that because of where we live right now, we live kind of on a back road in the county where we live in Virginia. And so all of our usual internet providers won't touch us. So currently we're running T-Mobile, but it's kind of unreliable in bad weather, which, yeah, we're having some rain today. But we're making plans to get Starlink, but, that costs money, and we're still, getting all of that stuff situated. So I don't know yet what streaming is going to look like full time. I'm definitely going to rely more on I'm definitely going to be relying more in the future on pre-recorded videos, just talking about whatever it is that's on my mind, because at least those hopefully can be uploaded with no issue. I have noticed, unfortunately, some issues with this stream, things kind of blipping out and things like that. And so if it's doing that with a normal stream, it's probably not going to handle gaming very well at all. But I still wanted to pull through. I still wanted to get on here and talk with you guys and just go a little bit more in depth into what's been going on, why I've been away, and just let you guys know that I have missed you. And yeah, Happy New Year, guys. And I'm going to tell you this, in 2025, I want to be by this time next year, I'm going to do everything I can. Obviously, if life and priorities get in the way, that's fine. But I would love to be, by December 31st, 2025, I would like to be back to where channel's fully active like it was back through 2022, 2023. So yes, as Darren says, things like that take time. And I'm married now, so I've got responsibilities and priorities that I have to take care of. But around those things, I'm going to do everything I can to get, whether that's streaming a bunch of games, whether that's doing more scripted stuff, whether that's definitely reaching out to my old friends. Phil, I've already been reaching out with you some, but reaching out to Baron, reaching out to Cash, Mike, Coach, Nick, Mexican Iron Man, all, and just okay. Now, Paul, you dance to theme Where There's a Whip, There's a Way. Are you talking about that Rankin Bass return, the animated Return of the King thing? I haven't seen that in such a long time that maybe that would be interesting into getting into. Which, by the way, Phil, another thing I'm definitely going to get back into also is band retrospectives, like going album by album with different bands and talking about their music. Like just recently, I've started slowly getting into. Hey, hold on 1 second. Give me that. Where'd you put it? So I don't know if y'all could see this, but my hair ties that I use, that one right there is addicted to these things, and we have to basically keep these under lock and key, because if not, she will just carry them around. Usually I don't have an issue with them as long as I can keep her supervised so that she doesn't choke on them. But if I'm doing something and can't watch her, then I dropped it. Then I try and keep these away from her as much as possible. And Phil says, whatever happens, blame Cash, and it's always his fault. Phil, if you keep name dropping Cash, he's going to get on you for that. I'm sure in the next Pop Talk or whatever, he's going to call you out or something. But anyways, come here, you. You need to calm down. But anyways, that's kind of my ideas as to what's been getting into. Like I said, I've started getting into Pantera because the guitar work of Dimebag has really been interesting to me. Like, I know for a fact that Dimebag had said he was really inspired by Ace Frehley, and we've already covered Kiss. And so getting into Dimebag and seeing like what one of the people who was inspired by Ace did, when you mix that with, I know for a fact Pantera was pretty heavily inspired by Metallica too, especially in the 80s. But how someone can evolve from trying to be every other 80s hair metal band to what Pantera ultimately became as, like, I guess you could say one of, if not the biggest metal bands of all time, at least from my understanding. I'm still obviously very much learning, but I definitely want to get it, go through all the Pantera albums and talk about them. And I'm probably not even this to metal. Like, there's other bands I would want to present to you guys too. Like, there's a gospel band that I had grown up with. In fact, they were the band that my grandfather used to teach me guitar, and that's the Hinsons. And the other group, and it's yeah. They're saying some of the lyrics to Walk, which I have heard Walk. It is a great song. And Phil said Dimebag had the best themed guitar of all time, the Dixie guitar. And you know what? I do gotta agree. That was a really cool guitar, but it is not my favorite of his guitars. My favorite of his guitars is the Slime guitar. Like, I want that guitar. Or in general, I just want a Dean ML, because those guitars, yeah, they look silly, but they look silly to such a degree they look cool, in my opinion. However, I will say that no band of what I have covered for YouTube so far has stuck with me like Black Sabbath has. I am still a huge Black Sabbath fan. I have pretty much all of their albums now on iTunes, because just recently Tony Iommi and Tony Martin remastered all of the albums that they had done together, and finally put them on iTunes. So you can now go on iTunes and buy Headless Cross, Tear, Cross Purposes, and Forbidden. And I'll say this too, real quick. I want to say hello to Pacific. It's been great to see you here, man. And I have missed you too. Say, listening to 4 hours specifically has really made me appreciate them more. Like, Forbidden, yeah, they were going through the motions, but it wasn't the festering turd that I thought it was. And Cross Purposes is genuinely a good album. I still absolutely love Tear. And while yes, Headless Cross is still a very dark album, more so than I'm comfortable with, I have a greater amount of respect for it. There's a lot of songs where I actually do like listening to, like the title track and Black Moon and, you know, things like that. But we're going to expand. Phil said, what, not Eternal Idol? I already had that one because that one already was under iTunes. So I had already had that one. And I do like Eternal Idol. In fact, it has probably one of, if not my favorite, Tony Martin tracks on that one, being Lost Forever. But yeah, like I said, I'm still a huge Black Sabbath fan, but I want to expand further. And I know that we got to finish Alice Cooper because me and Phil had only gotten as far as Dragontown on that one. So that will be the first thing we do, is finish Alice Cooper. And then from there, get into things like Pantera, Priest, Maiden, and, you know, things like that. And yes, Phil, I'm going to do Yngwie Malmsteen too. But anyways, that's one thing. As far as other things that we had started but not finished, I do intend to get back into Trek with finishing Deep Space Nine. I know I had been saying that for the longest time, and it never materialized. But for real, I'm going to do everything I can within everything. I know it would drive Phil insane if I said Malmsteen. He is a great guitarist. He is a great guitarist, okay? Say what you want about his personality, but he is genuinely one of the best heavy metal guitarists of all time. Phil says, bring donuts for him. Yes. But yeah, I do want to get back to Deep Space Nine. I want to, you know, bring back a lot of the things that we had been doing, but also bring in some new things too. Like, I didn't bring it up earlier, but Darren had said, I might do a live stream on Code Kai once the season is over, and I'll invite you if you do. I would appreciate that. I'll be honest, I have not seen anything from season 6 yet, but I'll definitely get caught up on that whenever you want to get into it. And so, yeah, that's pretty much where everything is at. I have another cat, well, the same cat, crawling all over my lap. She likes to do this a lot. She is a wild child. Smokey, do you want to say something for the folks? Yeah, she's not interested. So we're going to go ahead and end the stream here. Like I said, this was just me wanting to get on here and talk with you guys, go a little bit more in depth into what had been going on, and just sort of talk about, you know, and it's appropriate since it's New Year's Eve, just talk a little bit about where I see the channel going, hopefully, with the year coming up in 2025, especially now that I'm in such a different place in my life than I was when I left. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. I hope the internet issues weren't too bad and everything was able to come through okay. And just remember, everyone, even though I've been gone for the majority of 2024, the force is and has never stopped being family. And we will see you guys later.